year as the Titans offensive coordinator under first-year head coach Mike Vrabel. He will now team up with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. We will welcome back Packers reporter Rob Demovsky. And Rob, we don't know exactly how it will happen yet, but what's the expectation in terms of how LaFleur will connect with Aaron Rodgers?
Well, yeah, Wendy, that's the big question, and it is sure to dominate the press conference this afternoon. But here's what the Packers think. They think that their ages could help in that factor. LaFleur at age 39 was the youngest of all the candidates they interviewed. Rodgers, of course, is 35, and one source told me that they think Rodgers needs a contemporary, someone that he can relate to. And you've heard Rodgers talk throughout the last couple of seasons about how harder it has become for him to do that with players. He's lost his good friends, teammates Jordy Nelson in free agency, James Jones to retirement. He also talked, Wendy, about how when he came in, he saw the same thing happen with Brett Favre as Favre got later in his career. And when they hired Mike McCarthy in 2006, McCarthy was 42, Favre, was 36. It took those guys just 2 years to get to an NFC Championship game. The Packers hope that LaFleur and Rodgers mesh the same way.
Rob, thank you. Really an interesting dynamic. We will have LaFleur's introductory news conference live. That's 4 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. So join us for a SportsCenter special as we continue to roll out these coaches. We have Cliff Kingsbury first at 3 and then Matt LaFleur at 4. Teddy? You know what? Hold that thought. We're going to talk about something else. Okay. The Denver Broncos have reached an agreement with Bears defensive coordinator Vic Fangio. He will be their new head coach, sources tell our Adam Schefter and Darren Graziano. The reports also indicate that Gary Kubiak will run the offense for the Broncos, but his official title has yet to be determined. And in Cleveland, the Browns will hire OC Freddie Kitchens as their head coach. This was reported by Chris Mortensen. Baker Mayfield turned his rookie year around after the team parted ways with Todd Haley and promoted Kitchens to offensive coordinator. They have relieved interim coach and former defensive coordinator Greg Williams of his duties. He is no longer with the team, so he moves on. You know, again, we talked about the trend. Younger guy, quarterback-driven guy, Vic Fangio is an exception. But what's your take on the Kitchens hire, Coach?
Well, I think just the job he did once he took over for Hugh Jackson, I think was enough. I think, he definitely identified, with the offense, the quarterback position and Baker Mayfield. And, I thought it was a job interview. The rest of the
did a good job.
The rest of the season. And I think that's why now he's the head coach of the Cleveland Browns.
And I think also if you consider the entire rookie year of Baker Mayfield and how your football foundation, I like to call it, is laid. And when you start with Todd Haley and Greg Williams and Hugh Jackson and those type of guys, and all of a sudden Hugh Jackson is out, Todd Haley's out. Heaven knows what Baker Mayfield saw in there in terms of coach-player, player-coach relationships and how, what is going on in here? And then all of a sudden things start get going right. Kitchens starts doing a good job, and then you see how the connection there is between Baker and Kitchens, and so you don't want to mess it up too bad, all right? Cleaning house again, bringing someone new in. Do you want to do that in terms of development? If this is a guy that you feel comfortable with your quarterback, which there it is, quarterback-head coach relationship, you got to move forward with it.
So having said that, I completely agree, and obviously that sample size, small as it was effective. You got to do a lot of other things, Coach, as a head coach. That relationship is paramount with his quarterback, Baker Mayfield. But are you comfortable and confident that he can tackle those other parts that come along with sort of being the CEO in this situation?
Well, that's the thing you don't know.
I guess
I remember even, being a defensive coordinator and going into my first year in Carolina. There's no manual for it. You don't really know. But I think Freddie's been an 11-year assistant. He's coached multiple positions on offense. I think with Greg Williams moving on, this will be an interesting hire who he brings in to run that defense because it's a young, talented defense. And Greg Williams really is a good defensive coach, and who he ends up being able to hire in that role is going to be, probably his biggest hire as now the Browns head coach.
And as I mentioned before, I talked to Jarvis Landry last night, and he really pointed out what he liked about Freddie Kitchens, not the fact that he just brings the trick plays, but he was seeking and listening to the input of the players as far as what is it that they like to do on offense, whether it be power, a trap, or ISO, a stretch. These are the things that he said that he liked. And also he said when you see coaches sometimes that are calling plays that they can have an ego, but he liked the fact that he was taking their suggestions also in the middle of the game. And then we also talked about this lastly, that he finds him to be very real and authentic, and he underlined the fact He feels like he is a man of his word, which this day and age, with the way that the players are, and whether you want to call them Generation Z, whatever generation they are now, the fact that he feels like he can respect him and the trust factor that is there, which I think is a quality that gets very overlooked in the process of evaluating coaches and whether they can hold a team of 53 players together.
What are we on now? We Gen, anybody know?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I tell you what, we're so far away, we have no idea.
Yeah, but the Baker,
Generation young.
the Baker Mayfield generation, watching him
That's what we'll
towards
call
the
it.
end of the season, you could tell he was comfortable. He was comfortable speaking his mind.
played really well.
He was comfortable playing free. He was comfortable talking trash. I think that's the best Baker Mayfield you want. So for him to express that, just watching him, I mean, just being who you are, I mean, he was in conjunction with Kitchens. That was the partnership, so keep it going.
But that said, Fox has it right. Being a coordinator is still a whole different thing from being a head coach. And we've seen, candidates go from the coordinator level to the head coach and then realize it's a whole different scenario in terms of managing the macro view of everything. So we'll see, how that goes on from here.
Heretofore called Generation Baker Mayfield. That's what they're going to be called. What's the most important thing Vic Fangio has to do, Coach, from the outset?
Well, I think really the reason he's brought in there is get that defense squared away. I think they know they struggle a little bit on offense, and they did this year. When they went and won the Super Bowl in 2015, they did that with an incredible defense. Probably one of the top 10 of all time, in their last Lombardi trophy. So I think that's what Elway saw in Vic, the job he was able to do in Chicago, turning that defense around, since 2015, and hopefully being able with some good pieces, really some way better starting pieces in Denver right now than there was in Chicago when Vic first went to Chicago. So I think right now it's getting that defense right.
Let me ask you this. I know we got a lot of other things to cover, but I do want to go back to one thing that Rob Domofsky said, because I thought it was interesting, Josina, about the age between Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers. Do you buy that perhaps that can be an advantage in this case?
Well, I mean, I think that there's some relatability that could be there and connectivity with, the fact that there is, some closeness there. However, it could also work against, right, in terms of if you experience some early adversity and then, we looked at what you were doing last year with the Tennessee Titans, what your experience or lack thereof has been, in terms of the many years as a coordinator or not, as a head coach. I'm saying lack thereof. So if you experience some adversity, that could be a point of question and contention moving forward.
Sure. Let me address that, Wendy, this way. When you become 11, 12, 13 years in the league, your relationships with your coaches become stronger because the younger players that come into the locker room, it's like, man, I can't hang out. I got to go home and be with my kids. Right. It's different. It's different. It's like, no, I'm not into video games anymore, man. I don't do that. And you're still with them and you play with them and you have good relationships.
You probably have more in common.
But it's a little different. But you have more in common with your coaches. So I can see that with Aaron Rodgers and then having a relationship he can count on in the room, right? If it's with LaFleur, right there, because a lot of the players that are going to come into Green Bay in the next couple years had Aaron Rodgers' picture on their wall.
Right.
So
that's a great point.
It's a lot different when you're dealing with that type of mentality.
Think about Phillip Rivers. No, I'm sorry. I've got 9 kids at home. Video games will have to wait. We'll get back to that.
I can't hang out, but if you want to babysit, come on over anytime. That's how it is.
Exactly. All right. Still to come on NFL Live. And don't forget, we've got 2 new head coaches that will be introduced this afternoon. We will stay with you. Andrew Luck, Patrick Mahomes. Can you pick them out of a lineup with just their voice?
Absolutely. I'm always looking for Jack Doyle.
So it started in 7th grade, I think it was, 7th grade, when the voice starts changing. Freddie, hot. Voice, right? I mean, I've heard it since I was in like 7th grade. I kind of just embraced it. And so I know my voice has been different.
Froggish.
People started saying Kermit the Frog.
He's awesome. He's the best.
Freddie. Nice shit, man.
Absolutely. I'm always looking for Jack Doyle.
Freddie, good job, big boy. Ah, big strong man.
We're just excited to have another opportunity.
Well, the 2 quarterbacks facing off in Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes and Andrew Luck, have the kind of voice you recognize in an instant, right? You can pick them out of the lineup without even looking at them. So it made us wonder, ladies and gentlemen, how good you guys would be. We're going to play a little game we call Voice of the Franchise. Okay. You won't see them. You will hear them. They are all quarterbacks, and you don't have to wait You know the answer, shout it out. We'll
Okay.
see how we go, okay?
No
Okay.
buzzer.
All right, no buzzer.
I'm looking for a button.
I don't. You can figure it out. Throw something at the camera. All right, are we ready? Let's hear our first quarterback.
You always want to protect football, but I don't think you want to play
Phillip Rivers.
scared to make a play or
Nice.
make a mistake because then you won't make any
Yep,
plays.
there
And
you
you go,
go.
gosh,
That's
you should
a
have
tie.
done this and
Who
should
is
have
that?
done that. So I
Phillip
think
Rivers.
you definitely got to cut it loose.
I want a mentor.
But at the same time,
Okay, you can
manage
I
all
can
those
right.
situations. That, the whole
I have
situation.
an idea where you may struggle. I'm not going to tell you what numbers they are, but okay.
Okay.
Number 2.
They can tell when receivers are
Foles.
running different routes, what else is coming
Wow.
behind it, so they're able to, have vision on it
It's
and
an
cut it.
Arizona
And,
Wildcat.
they have really good ball skills, and that's something that
Two words.
you don't always
I
see.
think
So
you got
I've been
the
very
list.
impressed.
No,
with,
I don't.
Wildcat.
how
No,
much
I
they tell
can
me
tell
what they do.
Foles.
So
Wow, that's
if
good.
you-
That's like 2 words.
That like he dropped the
Okay.
mic right out.
I have the answer. I don't think you've seen them. You haven't seen them, have you? You didn't see the answers.
No. What?
Okay. No, all right. It was quick.
That's an accusation,
No,
Wendy. I don't appreciate that.
It
Take
was
it
a
to the
question.
commissioner. All right,
You
let's go.
Arizona people. Anyway. All right. Number 3.
No one likes losing. So, I can ask you the same question. You can give probably a better answer than me. No one likes losing. Everyone loves winning. People love winners.
Really?
Like
I
I
agree
say,
with him, but I don't know who it is.
we just have to
I'm
find
giving
a
you guys
way.
a
And
chance.
as simple as that, we have to find a way.
Nobody? No,
Oh,
take
I
any guesses
should
here?
tell them, but I forgot.
We have
Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston.
Did you know that?
No one likes
Yes.
losing.
You did. Okay, Teddy's.
So,
you guys.
I can ask you the same
heard
question.
that.
You
Go
can give
ahead,
probably
This
is
You got
like
better
we're playing
answer
Alabama
than me.
here.
No
You
one
guys,
likes
I'm gonna-
losing. Everyone loves
Thank
winning.
you. Thank you
People
for
love
giving us
winners.
a chance.
Yeah.
Get your whole back.
It
Come
didn't
on.
help.
Don't let the kids win. Don't let the kids win. Play fair.
Okay.
Number 4.
They've been playing great, and
Oh, come on,
it's the time of
Teddy.
year to do it. So
Say it.
Fine.
it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
playing against
Yeah,
a
we
team
get
that,
easy enough.
I
He's
thought
got a
everyone
pretty
fought pretty
distinct
hard
voice,
this
too.
week.
We've also
And,
heard it for 25,000
realized
years.
that-
I made a living listening
how
to
big the
quarterback.
game this
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
And there was
All right,
nobody
there you go.
taking their
A good living, I might add. All right. What's that? We on 5? Number 5.
For us, it's just we just want to keep defenses off balance.
that's
We
true,
don't want
Mitch.
them to tee off on the
Mitch.
run or the pass.
Listen, you haven't
Keep being efficient, staying
Oh,
off
this
third
is
down.
Teddy's
So felt like we
game.
were pretty good on first and second down today.
Man, I'm
Just
impressed.
keeping
Got
that
that
rhythm. And
I don't recognize him with the beard. I remember the voice.
Coach, did you know that one?
I didn't know that.
I did, but he does it so fast.
Oh, that's a point. That's
I'm a
the
little
point.
slow.
Sorry.
He's like,
I'm sorry.
speed up. Number 6.
Yeah, I want the ball in my hand. Always have and always will. So just anytime I get that opportunity to get that chance, that's the way I'd like it. So
Baker?
just to go down there
Nope.
and everybody just
This is the
execute
one I
the
thought
way they
you'd have
did.
trouble with.
Offensive line protected,
Oh, no.
receivers getting open. As I said, it's just a byproduct of what we do each and every week.
I don't know.
Yeah.
clue.
Can we
next
replay it? Can we replay it? Can we replay it?
I don't know. Can we
Second
replay
chance?
it?
Can we get a second chance?
Yeah, I want the ball in my hand. Always
yeah,
have
but
and
you
always
got-
will.
Yeah.
So just anytime I get
That's
that
tough.
opportunity to get that chance,
He just,
that's
it's
the way
not-
I'd like it. So just to go down
you
there
know,
and
his voice
everybody
just
just
doesn't
execute.
sound, yeah, and nothing wrong with it. Just, all right, number, whatever we're on, 8.
Dak was hard.
For us to be able to try to improve each and every week as a team is very important. We always preach that, this is an improving league, and the best team that improves
That's
at the end of the year is
Good.
usually
Yeah, I
the
agree.
team
Yeah.
that,
Deshaun.
has
Dak and
momentum
Deshaun are the ones that I thought.
No,
the
Deshaun's voice
advantage
is
sometimes.
distinctive.
I
I
haven't
know I
heard that.
recognize it.
Good.
I recognize it, just didn't do
Yeah.
it fast.
Number 8. Let's keep going. See how we do. Teddy's killing you, so let's.
That shows how close we are. Obviously, it's a great feeling to have, knowing people have your back, but they have that feeling for me too. I got their back, and that's a real team right there. Obviously, the extracurricular activity is not, it's not necessary, but that just shows what type of bond we have in the locker room.
Nobody?
Protected
It
on the
sounds
sideline.
familiar. I can't-
Baker.
Okay.
Baker Mayfield.
That shows how close we are.
Yeah, that's right, Baker. You
Obviously,
tell him.
it's a great feeling to have, knowing people have your back, but
I wasn't
They
thinking
have
the
that-
voice. I was going with.
gotta
Let's
listen
do
to
it.
what
We'll do
they're
one more.
saying,
Yeah,
too.
me too.
We'll do one more. Here we go. The grand finale.
People should look at our coaching staff and be like, okay,
Oh,
wow,
that's Carr.
they
Yeah,
can put together
nice
a plan
work.
that can
All
do
right.
certain things, even
I was
though
waiting for y'all to throw Lamar
A,
in
B,
there.
and C isn't there. You know what I mean?
He was.
And so
Go one more.
That
Come
was
on.
too
One
easy.
more.
One more? We can do one more.
Let's
I'll
go.
make an executive decision. One more. I think I will.
Where's the game show music
I just get
to keep
fired?
this moving along?
Yeah. Well, I know. Maybe that was it. We're ready. We're done. One more. One
and that's
more.
part of the frustrating part is, it's not one thing you say, okay, let's just go fix that and we'll be fine. It's
it's tough to win games in the National Football League,
Lions quarterback?
for one reason or another, execution.
He was right, by the way. There isn't one thing. They got a lot of situations.
I got to start listening to
All right, I think that's it.
There you go.
All right.
So what parting gift does Ted get?
What parting
he
gift?
just cleaned
He
us?
gets to come back for another 90 minutes. And hear two new head coaches introduced. Congratulations, Teddy.
Right, thank you.
Yeah, we'll look forward to that coming up 3 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. But right here, right now, the first time the Eagles and Saints faced off, it was a lopsided affair. Will the looming rematch change the state of affairs? That's what Philly fans are hoping for. Nick Foles leads the Eagles into New Orleans to face a rested Saints squad. The Eagles are hoping for an entirely different scenario than the one they faced in the Big Easy in November when a Carson Wentz-led Eagles team was shellacked 48-7. For more on the Saints and how they are looking to repeat November's effort, here's Mike Triplett.
Thanks, Wendy. The Saints insist they won't be taking the Eagles lightly despite what happened in that previous meeting. And in particularly, they've talked about how much respect they have for Philly's front four on defense, led by Fletcher Cox, who has 6.5 sacks since that last meeting. Saints center Max Unger said even in that blowout win, it was really hard to run against this front. And Unger and Sean Payton both talked about how much pressure they can get on the quarterback with just their front four not needing to blitz. So big key will be the health of New Orleans' offensive line. One of the best units in the game when healthy, but they really struggled in December on offense when that unit started to get a little banged up. So these last 2 weeks of rest will do them a lot of good. We'll get our first injury report this afternoon. A lot of them have a chance to come back, with the biggest question mark being Pro Bowl left tackle Teron Armstead.
Mike, thank you for the other side of this equation. We'll say hello to Sal Palantonio. Where else? He's in Philly. And Sal, here we go again. They're hoping this magic carpet ride continues for the Eagles. But they'll have to get the job done in New Orleans for that to be the case, and that's no small order.
Wendy, St. Nick has put away his sleigh. Christmas is over. It's the playoffs. Let's bring out the magic carpet ride. That's what they're talking about here. And, you know, we asked Nick Foles about the magic that this football team put together in Chicago in the wild card game. And he said there's no special sauce, no secret sauce. It's all about forging relationships in the locker room. Listen to this.
From my experience, it's the team that has the best relationships, the team that trusts each other the most, are the teams that are usually successful. There are some anomalies out there, but the teams I've been a part of, you go into that locker room, it's a cohesive group that genuinely cares about one another. And my philosophy always is, you know, in the fourth quarter, when the game's on the line, when you trust the men next to you, you're going to get it done more times than not. And, you know, I think this team's a testament to that.
And it's not only about relationships, it's obviously about execution. And for Nick Foles, that's been getting the ball out of his hands in 2.5 seconds or less. 2.5 seconds or less, Wendy, is Drew Brees, Tom Brady kind of neighborhood. And since week 15 in the National Football League, league-wide, Nick Foles leads the league in pass attempts, 87, yards, 647, and touchdowns, 6, when he gets the ball out of his hands in 2.5 seconds or less.
Sal, thank you. A little windy in South Philly this afternoon. And I tell you what, that's the kind of neighborhood Drew Brees and Tom Brady, if they live there, you want to put up a big house and stay for a while. And so far, that's trending well for Nick Foles. You know, we make too much of this sometimes. I don't know what that it is. He's doing a lot of things well. He's calm under pressure. But it is happening in Philly. I don't know how far they'll go and if they'll win in New Orleans. But they're buying what he's selling in terms of Nick Foles.
Yeah, Nick Foles is, like Sal's talking about, getting rid of the football. I mean, being a different quarterback and igniting the relationships that he's talking about with all of his other receivers, not just Zach Ertz. Carson Wentz was, you know, tight end heavy in terms of his selection process where he threw the football. You see everyone else getting involved. And that frequency in which that he gets the ball out, that's what makes everything work, because he's sitting back there and you're going up against one of the best defenses in the league in terms of getting the passer in the Chicago Bears. Where were they? I mean, the offensive line's playing well, but Nick's getting rid of the football, and that's what's key to this offense.
You know, and I think just his explanation of that locker room and what they've been able to do, because this team has been under fire since Nick Foles got in there. I mean, they've been in must-win playoff situation games all the way up
every
to this
week.
point. Yes, and so I think it shows a lot of why he was the MVP of the Super Bowl a year ago in what he was talking about the relationship. I look at how he's involved Alshon Jeffrey. Watch the fourth down play to win the game or at least put them in the lead against the Bears in a tough place to play.
Yeah, not afraid to take chances.
No.
To even the defense is tight. I think Nick knows it's going to be that way. I'm just going to put it up there, Alshon, where you got to do what you do. Yeah. My job, once that ball leaves my hand, it's yours. So you go make a play. Golden Tate, you go make a play. Yep. Ertz, make a play. Goddard. I'm not going to sit here and hold this and get myself crushed, even though he has taken some big hits. And even when he's going to put it up and give him a chance.
And even when he went to the sideline to talk to Doug Peterson, there was a discussion on that sideline of what play to call on that fourth down play of the game, and they won the game. I know Cody
roll to the right.
Yep, sprint pass right against zero coverage, and they beat Sherrick McManus to the flat.
I think that Nick Foles has a little bit more of that YOLO spirit, just you only live once. Just
YOLO.
From being a backup quarterback. I think they do a better job of spreading the ball around. Obviously, Alshon Jeffrey's having a better catch rate with Nick Foles back there, so the Eagles can't get too complacent because they're going to be coming in there with a different quarterback as well. And also, Nick Foles does a better job of avoiding the sack than Carson Wentz. 2% of his dropbacks versus 6% with Carson Wentz.
I tell you what, I've resigned myself. I'll never be as calm and collected as Nick Foles, but just like for one day would be nice. Just one day. It won't last long, but man, that guy, ice in his veins. Still to come, we will take you live to Arizona, that is, where Cardinals will introduce a new head coach. We are waiting, as you can see, for Cliff Kingsbury's introductory press conference coming to you shortly.